Welcome YouTube, welcome Twitch to another of me testing out the Oculus Link. As you can see, I've got the Oculus Quest headset on and I'm linked up to my PC via this Amazon Basics USB 3 cable, and I have an extension down there as well. I've also upped and edited some of the settings for the Oculus Link to up its performance and the image quality that comes through to this Oculus Quest headset. If you haven't seen how to do that, down in the below in the description is a link to a blog post or a forum post on Oculus's website where one of the developers takes you through some common settings for this. As you can see, I've got my pixel density override at the top here at 1.2, and going by the directions that are down below in the description, this distortion curvature set to low and encode resolution width set to 2912. Now that's supposed to make pretty much a quick thing there. Hello and welcome. How are you doing? Of course, anybody who's watching this back, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Press the thumbs up button if you like it. Ask questions. I try to get back to things. When I get time, I try to put like some links and stuff in the description, some time posts. In case anybody's wondering what my system settings are before I get started, I'm on an i7 that's running, an i7-9700K. It's running at 4.9 gigahertz. I've got 32 gig of RAM in here, and I've got an RTX 2080 Ti. Founders Edition with a standard overclock. Glad to hear you doing okay there, Mighty. So that's my general setting, so a bit of a beast of a machine. We're running this game, which is Project Cars 2, which is often on sale, and is kind of it's a sandbox race game that kind of sits in between sim and arcade, because some of the cars are not always great and then others are, but what we're here to see is how it performs with the Oculus Quest Link. Yeah, it's a pretty beefy setup that I got here. So, how are we going to take this? Well, first of all, those are the settings that I've used the Oculus debug tool to set. The important ones for the Link is the distortion curvature and the encode resolution width. And then, of course, your per pixel display override. 1.2 is a bit low. I could go a bit higher, but the visual fidelity in here in the headset is amazing. We're going to get into this straight away and just show you some of the game. So we're going to come in to the game and I'm going to take you through quickly the settings that I've got in game. It is also important that when it comes to VR and your multipliers, make sure you know where you're setting things, because if you set in one place and you change in another and then you change in another, you are actually interfering between game setting, in-game setting and headset setting and all of that lot. So make sure and do your big changes in one place generally, if you're going to fine-tune anything for anything like that. Right, so let's, I have taken that off. I need to click into here, click into there. There we go. You guys should now be able to hear the car rumbling away in the background. Hopefully a low rumble and not too bad. The race setup that I got, in terms of everything else I've just got basically PC. This obviously is the Oculus Quest. It's actually on the budget side. It's a G29. I like it. I think it represents really good value for money and does a very good job at what it does. You can get more expensive, of course. I've got it set on a bit of a collapsible frame here, with a bit for the manual stick shift as well. There is my foot cam, which should be that way, I think. I think it's that way. And this is the general settings in here. So this is the performance settings. So we've got the texture filtering. Yeah, they often go on sale on Amazon. So if you're in the UK, a really good price is gonna be, let me see what price. You can pick up occasionally the G29 with the shifter and the pedals all as one thing for about £140, which is a really, really sweet deal. Generally speaking, you can still get for about 170 for the wheel and the pedals, but occasionally that'll go down to 140, but then occasionally you can get all of them together. Oh yeah, it's a very, very good price. The shifter I do recommend modding a little because it feels a bit toy-like. Okay, so settings in here. Texture filtering is ×8 here. The rest of that we can't make around with. Track details high. Pit crew is all. Shadow details are high. Enhanced mirror, no. The normal mirror is fine. Motion blur, of course, is off for VR. Detailed grass, I'm not interested in grass. Yes, obviously this isn't standalone because the amount of power it does take to do this is somewhat reasonable, but Project Cars 2 is one of those games that performs quite well. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on what the frame rate is doing in my headset here as well. So I've got another readout inside my headset that you guys can't see that is telling me what my FPS is and what the system headroom is. Right, we're going to jump into this. So that's the performance of that. There is, of course, the visual effects part, and I've got post-processing is on. Yeah, we don't have that. There's enough of that. Haze is on, and you know, things like that. Cockpit mirrors are on. The other one we've got in here as a thing is where it says virtual reality, and that's world scaling. So that's gonna get me to where I need to be, basically, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with the world scale. Control wise, as I said, I'm using a G29. The pedals are going through a Leo Bodner extension, so the pedals are actually, instead of operating at 8-bit, are operating at 10-bit. I highly recommend people do that if they are on a PC. Right, let's get to some gameplay, shall we? We're just going to do a little bit of a test thing around here. I'm going to say start to that. Oh, need lights. And maybe we'll we're going to restart that session. So I've got the time accelerated here. I'm playing on Steam, but it actually goes through an Oculus driver. Hey RVR, how are you doing? Right. We're going to restart this session. This is just going to be a test lap on a pretty empty thing. We're here in a Porsche 919. Yeah, so this is the PC-based game. Obviously, going through Quest Link. And visually speaking, I have to say this, with the settings that I've got here, this is really nice and sharp. It's better than my CV1. And I'll go for distant things there. Oh, cool, dude. Right. Unfortunately, I have had a bit of a cold and a throat issue over the weekend, so I will be trying to grab some drink regularly. I may have to grab a throat sweet or cough sweet or whatever at some point as well, because I had a cold that developed into a cough, and that's not always good. So forgive me if at any point I grab a throat sweet and stuff like that. Right, we're going to start here. I've set the we're on the Nordschleife. We're just going to take a nice little quiet amble around the Nordschleife in a Porsche 919 hybrid. I've set the time acceleration to times 60. I'm getting 72 FPS, which of course is the max FPS of the headset, so it's performing nicely there. Damn, dude. Sorry to hear that. So we should get a full daytime nighttime cycle here. Oh, this is a beast of a car. Do I dare not lift? I'm lifting a little. Okay. We're going to have to get the headlights on at some point here. It's dropped a little bit below 72 here. Still razor sharp in the view. And then back up to the full it was 90 on, I can't remember DK2. CV1 is definitely 90. But one of the things about Project Cars 2, of course, is it is a gorgeous looking game. Oh, that's the windscreen wipers. I want headlights. And turn the windscreen wipers off, please. So you can see sort of like it's still holding steady. I can read all the instrumentation, which in my CV1 I couldn't. The performance here is much more on par with what I would expect of something like the Vive Pro, which of course this headset does have the same resolution as the Vive Pro, and that is in fact what it is encoding the video out at, is the same resolution per eye as you would expect to encode for this full screen resolution. And for that to be performing like this means that it really is looking good. Oh yeah. Now it did drop some frames there. In around carousel, over the edge, and there we go. That's so much fun in VR. This is one of those corners that normally catches me out. That's a little dodgy on my part. We've got some frame dips there. Not too many though, and the asynchronous space warp does fill in quite well in this game. There have been some games where it doesn't fill in so well. Oh, it wanted to kick me there. Okay, this is a hybrid, so we can get that extra power from the hybrid engine, and we're climbing up through the speeds. 200, 300 kph, 319 kph. And we're maxed out there. It's going to slow down, 312. So, bearing in mind that I'm also casting at the moment, so that's going to take up some of my headroom. To be getting this type of frame rate with these details is incredible. We're going to have to break here soon. This car is a true monster. I love it. And we're back to the start of the Nordschleife. Let's see what it goes like through to the morning. I want to see the sun rise here. Oh, this corner here scares me. Trail braking a little bit there. Oh, I came off the track, damn it. Use some of that electric. Down to 6th, because there's no way that I was going around that in 7th. Back on the electric. We're going to try and keep this open all the way, flat out all the way, in across here, And shall I, and on there we go. Oh, it's scary as well doing this. I don't mind saying this really does. Oh, wow. That's really cool. I mean, I haven't got the official one myself. I'm finding that the price in the UK, I can't stomach it at the moment. As I have working nicely working setup, I'm good with it. It's also a case that I may be looking at getting a different headset soon in the future. I may, I don't know. I may look at getting either an Index or a Rift S. Thank you. Come on, I'm looking for the daylight. We want to see the daylight. It's taken me a very long time to remember anywhere near as much as what I do on the Nordschleife. It's you know, it's a killer track basically, and if you're not wary of it, it really can give you a very bad day. Oh, that was not good. Okay. So we're dropping a couple of frames here and there, but it's certainly not bad. And this is where it gets really tricky. I did. I almost did. There was a bit of a scrape. Oh, that was a mistake. We kept it calm. Come on, where's the daylight? I was hoping we'd see daylight by now. We're back up to 72 FPS though. Here comes the speed. 300, 317, 316. Back down to 310. Blip it a bit. See if I can't make some on the downhill. And back on the electric. 305, the electric's gone. Round here and brake. Oh. Come, oh, here we come. Here's the daylight coming in. We want to see a nice sunrise. This is one of the things that Project Cars 2 really does well, is that transition from night to day. It really does look very pretty when you get that whole thing going on. Really, I didn't step outside there. Apparently I stepped over one of the white lines. Oh, this is where I need gloves. I think I should get myself a good set of racing gloves at some point, because oh, my hands have got an ache now. Look at the sunrise coming. Sure is pretty. Coast this in a bit. Yeah, my hands are starting to little slip a bit from trying to wrangle this Porsche around here. So, beautiful day here in Germany then. On the Nordschleife. I almost messed that corner up there. I was almost in a barrier. If I hadn't taken my foot off the accelerator, then it would have been all over. Oh yeah. That was a close one. I almost messed that up. So around here, we seem to jump down to... Oh. seemed to jump down in the FPS a bit there through the daytime nighttime cycle, but that's because I am streaming. It's little jumps down. If I was offline, I would expect this to actually hold this steady, because you're only talking about mainly less than 10% drop in the performance side here. So for this level of visual quality, it does remarkably well. Yep. Oh, we can also turn off my lights in here. That's good. Yes, it does. A little bit, because though the FPS is a bit of an offset, you have to remember that you're going from the resolution of a CV1 to the same resolution as a Vive Pro, because believe it or not, the Quest's screens are the same resolution as a Vive Pro. So where, if you can remember, in like a game like this, or a car like this, where you have a steering wheel that's really complicated, let's open the electrics up. You wouldn't typically be able to read all the little numbers on the steering wheel if you're on a CV1 from this distance, because they were just a little bit too marred by there we go. That was good. I enjoyed that. Right, we're going to stop there. So, let me just, yeah. So, as you can see here with the steering wheel and the actual, let me just make that so you can see exactly there. So, all of this text here, I'm going to actually sit back from the steering wheel in a moment. So I can still read all of the main text on that screen. So all of the numbers there, I can basically read all of the numbers on there, which is fantastic. Yeah. We've got, obviously, main lighting comes on and off. I can read everything going across the main, the fault, the is it DOS or DSS? Radios, dims, where it says fire across there. Yeah, we can see all of that and read that nice and clearly. When it comes to the track itself, we've got a nice clean view. I can clearly see where the track is coming off to the edge there. It's nice and easy to see that far in the distance. But I'm back here. So the clarity that I've got here over the Quest Link with these settings means that you can see how much I've accelerated time here, and see the dynamic shadows going across the canopy, and that's just due to the time dilation of what's happening with the sun moving around at such a high speed. Right. So that kind of gives you a nice sort of idea on that one. We're going to take a look at a couple of other things. I'm going to see, that was just me on the track by myself. Like I say, that's great fun. An amazing car, by the way. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I really do think it's brilliant. Obviously, I am on a big PC and I've got this set up to some high settings. But you will be able to get some very decent results out of this game from using some slightly lower settings, but it's still going to look pretty damn sweet. Right, we're going to exit from there. I need drink. Cola. Yes, I thought that was the bit that was needed for sure. Okay, so that was what we was doing there. Let's test this out with some more cars on the track. I'm going to do particularly bad at this because I'm not very good with this car. But we're going to use the same track. You're quite welcome. Thanks for joining. I always find it nice when people join in. Right, so we're going to be using this Lotus, and just in case anybody who hasn't seen how many cars there are in Project Cars 2, we have all of these cars that are available in Project Cars 2. The epic music feels appropriate. Will I get to the end by the crescendo? There we go. So it's a huge number of cars and they've got liveries as well. So that's some amazing stuff. That's why this is a sandbox game, because all of these cars are basically available for you to drive straight away if you've bought the appropriate version, which this game does go on sale on a regular basis. So check out, look for the sale and jump in there. Talking about sales as well, if you don't have Dirt Rally 2 on Steam, the Steam version is available via Humble Bundle at 70% off at the moment. So that's under £20 for the full-on deluxe version of Dirt Rally 2, which is, of course, is also playable in VR. It's a very highly demanding game. Don't expect to go in that and ramp all that up. Yeah, it is a very great deal. But do beware with Dirt Rally 2 that it does take some performance stuff, but it is in a place where it's now playable, which is very, very good. Right. By the way, if you're watching this back, I shall try and put a card up there. Right, we was going to use this Lotus 49. We're using that track. We're just gonna, I've set it to 3 laps. We're probably not gonna do that. Time acceleration in this is off at the moment. We're gonna set it to real time and we're gonna set it to times 15. Season autumn. Okay. Oh no, real time. Yeah, if you've got the PC to do it, definitely do it. It's cool, and for like 20 quid, that is a bargain. So Humble Bundle, Dirt Rally 2.0, and it's the full deluxe version, which is on sale at 70% off. So that's a real bargain. Same thing here. Look out for the sales on this. Right, we've got this all set up. We've got how many on the track? We've got 20 opponents on the track, same class. We're going to jump in. Did I knock the car? Did I knock my foot cam then? I think I did. That's okay. Right. One of the things I do find really thrilling in this game is that difference between cars. So, we've seen before, I was in that Porsche, the prototype hybrid sort of class of car. And here we are in an old 1970s F1. Yeah, make sure and do that obviously before that Humble Bundle deal. I think the Humble Bundle deal is up for quite a few days yet. It's only just started. I got an email about that this morning. So, of course, if you're not following some of my other things like on Twitter or whatever, you can follow me on Twitter. There's links in the description down below. And I will occasionally put out bits of news when I see something like a deal like that come up. Right, straight away here on the grid line here. I'm just going to stand up a moment. But look at all them. Look at that. That is so awesome. I'm right at the back of the pack, though. But we've got all of these Lotuses. All of these 1970s Lotuses out here. This is the thing I love about virtual reality. There's no way on earth I am ever going to get to sit in one of these F1 cars and drive under anger, let alone, getting to drive under anger at the Nordschleife full stop is not happening. But to get to drive under anger in a 1970s F1 Lotus. Right, let's do this. Oh, ho, ho. Oh, ho, ho. That was not good. We'll restart that one. It's an amazing thing there. Most of the time through there, that's 72 FPS was still happening. We're gonna restart that session because like I say, I am not used to driving this car, and this is not an easy car to drive. There, it is a good model in this in PC cars too. It does feel correct, but it is a difficult car to drive, just like if you was at the real thing. Into fifth gear, we're up into the top gear. And there's no, don't hold on here because this car has no downforce. Oh my giddy aunt. Right, we held it there. That's not how you drive this car, by the way. I told you I'm not used to this car, and it's... We're gonna lift a bit here. I did. Thankfully it's just AI. Otherwise I'd feel very bad about it. Ran him off the road as well. Talking about no Pontorino. But that's the North Schleife for you. It's very hard going. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That was not how that was supposed to go. That was not how I wanted it to go at all. Yeah. Oh. Trying to back down to fourth because it's losing that RPM through here. Oh, just held that. Keep it flat through here. Can I keep it flat? Hello. Oh, and right on the braking. Oh right, I can see them in the distance there. They've just gone on to the carousel. And we've made it through the carousel. That's one of the good things. You can see them just go around the corner there. It's a slippery, dodgy corner, that one. Now we're starting to get into the really difficult parts of the track. That's YouTubers' Corner coming up around here, isn't it? Where all the YouTube people come flying off the track. That's why it had a huge amount of people following up there, because that's where all the big accidents happen. Four-wheel sliding there. Oh, tires are going to be cold now. How are you doing, by the way? Hope you're having a pleasant afternoon. We're trying out some performance here. Take care of you. And anybody who hasn't checked out RVR's channel, please do drop by there, give him a like. His closet is incredibly packed, full of sim gear. He, of course, has a much better racing pedigree than I do. Okay. So, yeah. Basically, here in PC Cars 2, South California, huh? Oh. Wow. Flat out through here, nice and easy. Oh, on the brakes. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, that did not go well. I would have been dead there. I would have been dead. So, yeah, I would have been very, very dead there. But like I said, I am not as used to this car as I wish I was, because it is an amazing experience to drive. This type of car is just so visceral. It's filled with energy, it's filled with impact, it's filled with drama. It wants to pull you every single way. You've got understeer, you've got a bit oversteer, you've got lack of power, you've got excessive power, you've got everything in this car. It's a really, really fun one to drive. What a combination. If only I could do it justice. I can't, unfortunately, as you've seen, but it doesn't mean that I didn't have fun trying. And so we're going to take a look at some other cars and maybe some of the other tracks. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for the race drivers of the 1960s and 1970s for sure. They really did put themselves out there. It was very dangerous driving. Something like, you know, this Lotus 49. So yeah, right. But you can see generally how good that is, and what you're seeing on the screen is not as much as what I see in the headset. Um, as an example, with the Lotus there, the RPM gauge, I could read the RPM gauge very clearly, which is the main one. I, I couldn't quite read the oil gauge. It was just on let me just, I'll press the start here as well again, just so you can see what I can tell you where I can see things from, and we'll zoom in a bit and show you a bit of the detail, and I will say what I can read where, so you've got an idea of how clear this is coming through. Like I said, if I was not streaming, then for the most part, the FPS would be at the max FPS for this headset, which is 72 at the moment under the Quest Link. I do hope in future versions that they will unlock that to also do 90 as well and different things like that. But performance-wise, it's actually working out quite well for it, because you've got a lot of video encoding and so on and so forth to do. But obviously with me streaming at the moment, that is eating up some of my headroom. Right, I'm going to put my foot on the brake. So, so you can see in here, oh yeah, these sort of like F1 cars, they really do give you a whole sense of where you are, and when you're this low, you can see the force feedback on my wheel needs a little bit of trimming. So when you see us doing this type of thing, it is battling against the wheels forces and the forces that come through from the engine and so forth. So I can just, switch that in a little bit, and it's going to want to twitch on you and shake and all sorts. Right, give you an idea. So you can see in here we've got oil. Yeah, so we've got a temperature there on the bottom, yeah, and that's in degrees C, and then we've got an amount of oil, which will be gallons, is it? And then we've got the RPM, and then we've got a temperature gauge, amps, and not sure what that one is. But basically, I'm going to go out. We're going to choose one that's got small writing. So we're going to choose, say, the oil temperature in C, and I can still read that, and still read the text. Now I can just make it out barely. Now I would have to know what the points are. I can read the 70 and I can read the 80. Can I do an epic crash? They're scary. Epic crashes are scary. I can try and do an epic crash. Let's try and do an epic crash. Oh. Hang on a moment. Sorry? Okay. 10 minutes? Okay, we've only got 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and do an epic crash, and then, oh, yeah. I'm going to try and do an epic crash, and then I'm going to draw some conclusions as quick as I can, because I've got food waiting. Right, let's do this. I think I know where we need to crash. Important things in life, food, you know, must be done. How not to take that corner. That's how not to heel and toe. I'm still trying to learn my heel and towing better than this. And this car does require heel and towing. I'm totally thinking about food now. I'm thinking about food now, going, oh, food. Instead of getting this bit done right. So here we go. See if we can't fly over this top bit. Yeah, that's as epic as it's getting for the moment. That was a bit tame, but yeah. Okay. Right. I need to get used to where this is going to be. So, there we go. This game, of course, has a lot to offer. You've got full careers, which goes through loads of different stages of things. You've got quick play, which is the sandbox content type of thing. You can create a race. You can do private testing. You can do time things. Yeah. Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh. Crashing is scary in VR, especially with proper good cars. I have had some mammoth crashes. But basically, I want to draw a conclusion to this for you guys. I would have been dead. Yeah, possibly. With that type of car, at those times, at that speed, I probably would have died. So, yeah. Okay, so what was I looking at? I was looking at the options. So, generally speaking, I've got some pretty good options on here. There is multiplayer, of course, full online versus flat screen versus VR. There's no distinction between the two. So there's plenty of people to play with. Quick thing of my settings here. You can see all of my performance settings there. That's pretty high on those. The virtual reality settings is just this type of thing. So there you go. My super sampling, yeah, is 1.5 in here as well. So that's multiplied by the 1.2 as well, by the way. Another quick note for you guys. So the other thing to note, of course, is that I'm using the Oculus Tray tool here. Sorry, the debug tool. So I've got a per pixel display of 1.2. So that's actually timed by that 1.5 there. So I'm actually at a much higher setting, so I could actually get even more out of this. Then we've got the Oculus Link distortion curvature, which is set to low, and the encode resolution width, which is set to the recommended from the description from Oculus developers on how to set this. By the way, distortion curvature low is actually the higher setting. Yep. And this is basically, follow that link, it'll tell you kind of like what you're doing there. Generally speaking, try to keep your multipliers in one place, and now I've got it in two places here. That's sometimes a mistake on my part, but it looks stunning in headset there. Yeah, I'm super happy with the performance here. Try take over what they use in the link below. I've got my settings down below. Conclusions for this game, though, is if you haven't played Project Cars 2 and you've been used to console side of things, definitely Project Cars 2 can be a bargain to pick up. It's got a huge amount of content. It's not a full-on sim in many other ways. It can be good fun. Assetto Corsa, I would say, is a better step up towards sims. Exactly. The higher you go, the more likely you are to drop frames, is true. So, yeah, this works brilliantly with the Oculus Link. Performance-wise, it's performing tremendously well. Compared to my CV1, with these types of settings, what I'm seeing in the headset is much closer to that of a Vive Pro. Not quite a Vive Pro, because a Vive Pro has slightly different screen, more brighter colors, a little bit more punch. But resolution-wise, it really is up there. A Rift S is actually going to look sharper still. And the same would go for the Index. But what can I say? For anybody who's got this and has that, it's like a no-brainer. It's great fun. Choose the cars you want in here. Play with some friends. Get the game on sale. It's really great. Right. If you are just joining me and you've come to the end of the conclusions and you've not subscribed, then, come on, what are you doing? Press the subscribe button. Get me to that 1,000 subscribers. There is going to be a button over there that you can push for the subscription. Press the notification bell if you want to be notified of when I'm live streaming or when I publish a video. Go see a video up there as well. There'll be one above my head somewhere and one somewhere up there. There should be some time links appearing in the description down below. And I will see you all again. Remember to close your eyes if you're going to crash into those barriers, because they are scary. Bye.